Revelation chapter 7, verse 1 says, after these things, what things? After the opening of the first 6 seals. I'm going to break just a second. Chapter 7, I guess, would be what we call a intermission or an interlude between the opening of the 6th seal and the opening of the 7th seal. We'll find out why here in just a second. So after these things, after the opening of the 6 seals, I want you to look back in chapter 6, verse 12. And I beheld when he had opened the 6th seal, and lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig casteth her untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together, and every mountain and island were moved out of their places. So, this has just happened. The 6th seal has been opened. And we talked about it. What happened when there was this earthquake? I think it affected the whole earth, not just a region. Probably there's volcanic eruptions, all kind of ash and dust and soot's been thrown into the air. We talked about all the power lines had to be, well, we feel like a lot of them would have been knocked to the ground with an earthquake like that. The lines were still hot. That probably caused fires. Gas lines surely ruptured. That's more than likely caused fires. And all of this combined, just think about all of the mess in the air. I mean, it is so, the atmosphere is so black that it blacked out the sun. So you've got all of this nastiness just floating around in the air. And look what it says. After these things, after that happened, I saw 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth, holding the 4 winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. So you've got all of this mess in the air, and God causes the wind to cease. No breeze, no movement of air whatsoever. And all of that stuff's just sitting. And slowly, just slowly, gravity's going to start taking effect. All of that mess is going to fall back to the earth. We're not talking, I don't think, just a slight dusting of mess. We're talking inches or feet of this soot, whatever, dust, ash, whatever. Houses are already compromised from the earthquake. Then you add all that weight on top of the houses. What do you think is going to happen to, I think, a lot of houses? They're going to collapse. For those that have a house that hasn't collapsed, you think there's going to be any air conditioning? Or if it happens in the winter, you think there's going to be any heat? No, because we pretty much determined that electrical lines are down. So there's not going to be any air conditioning. Pretty much determined a lot of gas lines are going to rupture. So there's not going to be gas for heat. You're going to be stuck in a house, either in the summer or the winter, no movement of air whatsoever. Just think how stuffy. If it's in the summer, how hot. In the winter, how cold it's going to be. We've pretty much gotten used to wearing masks now. You think a mask is going to help with all the mess that's floating around in the air trying to breathe? The weather is going to just go into total chaos. What determines our weather? The jet stream. God's going to stop all that. And this isn't even a seal. This is just a byproduct. And think how bad it's going to be. But verse 2, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God, and he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. So this is why we've got this interlude, or this intermission, between the sixth and the seventh seal. God is going to take, look what it says, verse 4, and I heard the number of them which were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Israel. So after the sixth seal, God is going to take, and I believe it's a literal number. You don't have to believe that. You can just say it's figurative. But he said he heard it. So I'm going to take it as a literal number. 144,000 who? Jews. No one else. Just Jews. God is going to take, he's going to send an angel, and this angel is going to provide for, care for, protect this 144,000. So that's why there's a little pause in the action, if that's how you want to word it. In verse 5, 6, 7, and 8, I'm not going to read them, but it tells us that it's 12,000 from each of the tribes. Now go to verse 9. After this, so after this 144,000 have been sealed, look at what happens, what John sees. I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which no man could number. So how many is that? 2 chapters earlier, and we'll talk about that here in just a minute, John described the number of angels as 100 million plus thousands and thousands more. He just said he heard 144,000. That to me is a lot of people. But here in verse 9, which a great multitude which no man could number. God could, but it says no man could number. So it is a lot of people. But who are they? Not who is they, who are they? Of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues. So you've got this, I'll call it a ginormous amount of people. Everyone. Now the 144,000, those were Jews. But in verse 9, you've got this very large number of people of all nations, kindreds, people, and tongues. Basically anyone and everyone on the earth, or who had lived on the earth. But notice where they are. Stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. So where are they? They're in heaven. Where are the 144,000? They're on the earth. Now they've lived through those first 6 seals. They're going to make it through the seventh seal, but with God's provision and protection. But now God has sent an angel to care for them. But who do you think has it better? Who is better off? The 144,000 or this great multitude? The multitude. Why? They're in heaven. What are they doing in heaven? Verse 10. And cried with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our God, which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. What are they doing? Praising Jesus. They're having church. And they're having such a great and wonderful church service. Look what happens in verse 11 and 12. And all the angels. How many is all? John had described, I think in chapter 5, 100 million plus thousands and thousands more. So this great multitude, they're having such a great and wonderful worship service that it gets the angels excited, and they join in, 100 million plus thousands and thousands more. And it's verse 11, and all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the 4 beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshiped God, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our God forever and ever. You think that's going to be a great worship service that's going on? I said going to be, because has this happened yet? Hasn't happened. But it will happen. They're going to have, we can't even begin to imagine how great this worship service is going to be. And then verse 13, and people say the Bible is not humorous. Verse 13 and 14. So you've got this great, this just amazing worship service going on. And look what happens in verse 13. And one of the elders answered, saying unto me. So John, he's seen a lot of things that he does not enjoy. He's seen a lot of things that he did not want to see. But now he is seeing something that he's into. Now he's eating this up. He is totally zoned in on what's going. And then one of the elders gets up and walks over to John and asks him this question. In church. Get that. They're in church. He asked the question, what are these which are arrayed in white robes, and whence came they? The humor that I found in this. It's probably not how it happened. But don't you think John, in my mind, just wanted to turn around and just slap him? There's this just wonderful worship service going on, and this fella walks up to him in church and starts asking him questions. Now John is zoned in on what's going on. And John says to me, I'm sure this is not how it was, but John is just a little aggravated at him. And I said unto him, verse 14, Sir, thou knowest, why are you asking me? I am just a bystander here. I am enthralled in what's going on. I am enjoying what's going on. You're talking to me in church. You're asking me a question that you know I don't have the answer to. You've got the answer. But he says it nicely. Sir, thou knowest. And he, being the elder, said unto me, These are they which came out of great tribulation and have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb. So who is this great multitude? It's saved folks. Says that came out of great tribulation. I don't know. Is it the great tribulation? Or is it just all saved people throughout time? Or is it saved people throughout time that maybe were martyrs? Maybe were persecuted? I don't know. But we do know it's a lot of folks. Verse 15. Therefore are they before the throne of God. Get this. And serve him Wednesday nights and Sundays. Serve him day and night in his temple, and he that sitteth on the throne shall dwell before them. They shall hunger no more, neither thirst any more, neither shall the sun light on them, nor any heat. Y'all know my belief on this. What are we going to be doing in heaven?
Praising Jesus.
Praising the Lord. When?
24/7.
All the time. Now I'm saying that.
All day and all night.
All day and all night. I believe that. But now let's look at verse 17. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them and shall lead them unto living fountains of waters, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. I still believe with everything in me, we're going to be praising God constantly, consistently. But I think every once in a while we're going to have a break. For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them. We were talking in class before we started about feeding a lot of people. We just had our Christmas. Claudine's already said that. 11 grandkids. They would eat and they would be back for seconds before we ever even got to eat our first go-round. I don't think it's going to be like that in heaven. For the Lamb, who is that? Jesus Christ himself shall feed them. Who is the them? Us. At some point, is it going to be 3 meals a day? Going to be 1 a day? Once a week? I don't know. But at some point, Jesus himself is going to feed us. And just in my mind, he's going to call us to that humongous dinner table. Because it's a great multitude. And just in my mind, in an orderly fashion, we're going to go. We're going to sit down, maybe because I'm OCD, and boom, that food is going to be there.
As needed.
As needed.
And just the right amount.
Just the right amount, and there's not going to be people milling around, tripping over our chairs. Well, can I have that? Do you want that? For the Lamb which is in the midst of the throne shall feed them. I'm going to change that. Shall feed us. And to me, that is the perfect way to end the lesson. Jesus himself is going to feed us. I don't know if it means he's going to actually serve us or if he's just going to provide the food. But either way, it's going to be perfect.